Czechia, the country people think they know, but don't. Czechia is a country most people believe they already understand. Prague. Beer. Castles. Medieval streets. And that's usually where the story ends. But behind this familiar image, there is a much deeper reality, a country shaped by centuries of history, occupation, survival, irony, and quiet resilience. Czechia doesn't try to impress loudly. It doesn't sell a dream. Instead, it offers something far more rare in modern Europe: balance, stability, and authenticity. This is not a list of random facts. This is a deeper look at how Czechia really works, how its people think, and why this small country in the center of Europe leaves such a strong impression on those who take the time to understand it. A country at the center of everything. Czechia sits almost exactly in the heart of Europe. It borders Germany, Austria, Poland, and Slovakia, some of the most influential regions in European history. For centuries, this location made Czech lands strategically valuable. Trade routes crossed here. Armies marched through here. Empires rose and fell here. Czechia was never isolated. Even when it lacked independence, it was always part of something larger. That constant exposure to foreign powers shaped a culture that learned how to adapt without losing itself. Czech identity wasn't built on expansion or dominance, but on endurance. This central position explains why Czech culture feels familiar yet different at the same time. It carries German order, Slavic emotion, and Central European pragmatism, all blended into something uniquely Czech. A history that taught people to be careful. Czech history is not a story of uninterrupted freedom. For long periods, decisions were made somewhere else, in Vienna, Berlin, Moscow. Empires ruled, borders changed, and ideologies came and went. Living through monarchy, fascism, communism, and sudden freedom left a mark on the national mindset. Czechs learned not to trust grand promises. They became skeptical of loud leaders and extreme ideas. Instead of open rebellion, they mastered quiet resistance, irony, and humor. This is why Czech humor is often dry, dark, and self-aware. It's not about being funny for attention. It's about survival. Laughing quietly while history passes over you is sometimes the safest form of freedom. Prague, a city that refused to become a theme park. Prague is often described as one of the most beautiful cities in the world. And visually, that's true. But what makes Prague special is not just its architecture, it's the fact that it never fully turned into a museum. People actually live there. Offices operate inside centuries-old buildings. Families walk past Gothic churches on their way home. The city doesn't hide its age or polish away its imperfections. Cracks in walls, uneven streets, and faded facades are not seen as flaws, they're proof of continuity. Prague survived wars, bombings, and political shifts largely intact. Instead of freezing itself in time, it learned how to carry its past into the present without pretending everything is perfect. Why Czechia is a land of castles. There are more than 2,000 castles and fortresses spread across Czechia. That number is not an exaggeration. The reason is simple. These lands were valuable, and they needed protection. Castles were built by kings, nobles, religious orders, and cities. Some guarded trade routes. Others controlled borders. Many were symbols of power rather than royal luxury. Over time, these structures became part of the everyday landscape. For locals, castles are not romantic fantasy locations. They are hiking destinations, weekend trips, or familiar landmarks visible from village roads. History here is not distant, it's normal. Beer is not about drinking, it's about belonging. Czechia has the highest beer consumption per person in the world, but this fact is often misunderstood. Beer culture here is not about excess or escape. It's about routine and connection. Pubs function as social centers. People meet after work, talk quietly, discuss life, complain, joke, and relax. Beer is affordable, high quality, and treated with respect. Getting drunk is not the goal. Being present is. In Czech society, beer represents equality. Everyone sits at the same table. Status matters less. Conversations matter more. The Czech personality, reserved, not cold. Czechs are often described as distant or unfriendly. In reality, they are private. They don't perform emotions for strangers. Smiles are earned, not automatic. Once trust is established, Czech people are loyal, honest, and deeply reliable. They value personal space, consistency, and straightforward communication. They don't like drama. They don't exaggerate. They prefer calm solutions over emotional reactions. This mindset helps explain why Czechia consistently ranks as one of the safest and most stable countries in Europe. Daily life without illusions. Life in Czechia is not perfect. Bureaucracy can be frustrating. Taxes are high. The pace of life is not fast or glamorous. But in return, people receive structure, safety, and predictability. Healthcare works. Public transport works. Cities function. Life may not feel exciting every day, but it feels manageable. And for many people, that is exactly the point. Czechia doesn't promise happiness. It offers something quieter, the ability to live without constant